We start out with a couple of brothers shooting ball. The father, Jake Shuttlesworth, and his son, Jesus Shuttlesworth. Jesus has a jump shot like Ray Allen. Now Jake, he locked down, serving hard time. He gets summons to see the warden. The warden welcomes him. The two begin to shoot the shit about the game of basketball. The warden cuts the chat and gets to the reason behind the meeting. He wants to gauge the strength of the relationship between Jake and his son, Jesus. See, Jesus is the top high school basketball recruit in the nation. It turns out that the governor is an alumni at the state university, Big State U. He needs Jesus on his team to pop out on that wing and hit some threes. He done sent down orders to the warden to float a backdoor deal with Jake. If Jake can get his son to commit to Big State University, it could mean an early release for him. Jake is interested, but he can't do much recruiting while he's locked behind the prison walls. They hatch a plan to food poison Jake and quarantine his ass outside of the prison for a week. Of course, he ain't exactly free. He's been assigned to a couple of cops to oversee his movements, Crudup and Spivey. Spivey hates Jake right off the rip. He'd just as soon throw that sumbitch out the car and run him over. They put Jake up in a ratty-ass motel. They slap that ankle bracelet on him, lay down the do's and don'ts, front him some walk-around money. Jesus is late for the bus. He stops, composes himself, and then struts by his adoring fans. He greets his old lady, Lala. She got the boy's nose wide open. She hits him up with the same question that everyone wants to know from Jesus. Has he made his decision on a college? But Lala ain't just asking out of curiosity. Lala is working an angle. She got some agents lined up to pitch themselves to Jesus. But Jesus is cautious enough not to get himself caught up in recruiting violations. Jesus drops in on his coach, who's got the same question. When are you making your decision? The whole process is wearing on Jesus. He got folks coming at him from every direction. He assures his coach that he understands the gravity of his decision. Jake is headed to his room and he peeps his neighbors, Sweetness and Dakota. Jake looking at Dakota like a man that just got out of prison. Sweetness has to warn Jake to check himself before he wrecks himself. Jake goes to cool off. At a school? Damn, he's stalking a little sister. Oh wait, that's his daughter, Mary. Seems that while in prison, Jake has been completely cut off from his kids. He's even lost track of their living situation. He goes into their apartment and begins to snoop around. Mary still rides for her pops and thinks the best of him. This means a lot to Jake to have at least one person in his corner. And speak of the devil, here comes Jesus through the door. Now Mary might ride for pops, but Jesus got the look of someone who ain't riding with Papa Jake. Jesus goes in on his little sister for letting pops into their apartment. He then addresses Jake directly. Their relationship ain't fractured. That shit is wrecked. Jesus wants no part of Jake in his life. Jake decides not to press the issue and requests some time with Jesus at a later date. Jesus heads down the hallway to tell his uncle about Jake popping up at their place. Uncle Bubba been halfway taking care of Jesus and Mary since their mom died. Bubba ain't a fan of Jake either, but Bubba ain't got the same hot hatred for him that Jesus does. He advises Jesus to meet with his pops and see what he wants. Jesus and his cousin meet up with Jake on the courts. Jake tries to break the ice with a quick game. Jesus ain't having it. When Jake brings up Jesus' mom, it hits a sore spot. It almost 86'd their conversation right there. Strike one. Jake tries to find another way to engage. He asks Jesus about the letters that he sent him from prison. Jesus tells him that he destroyed those letters on sight. Damn. Strike two. Jake tries a little more direct approach. He asks Jesus about his plans on selecting a university to play ball. That's the wrong play on a cat who's been hearing that same question every 10 minutes. Strike three. Jake realizes that he ain't going to be able to crack the shell. Jake speaks to him about forgiveness, tolerance, compassion, understanding, letting bygones be bygones. Oh wait, hold up. It's revealed that Jake is serving time because he killed Jesus' mom. Ah, forget it, Playboy. He ain't gonna ever forgive you for that. I mean, Jesus forgives, but goddamn, this is a bridge too far. Jesus leaves Jake with some cold parting words and the conversation is done. Back home, Jesus goes to Mary's room. The buzz around her brother's decision is having an effect on her too. She tells Jesus that the chatter around town is that she's gonna be balling in these streets when Jesus goes pro. To hell with high school. I'm about to be a damn baller out here. Jesus snaps into a rage at the idea of his sister becoming just another hanger-on. That boy got rage issues. That boy gonna be getting technical fouls like a mug out here if he don't get that temper in check. His anger subsides and he apologizes. Across town, the raging continues. Jake is awakened by a pimp hoe sparring session. Sweetness is going upside Dakota's head because she's been hiding some tricks treats. Jake goes over, after the coast is clear, to check on Dakota. Initially, she gets a little mouthy with Jake, but the two soon settle into a consultation. They engage in general surface level conversation until Jake asks her why she stays in an abusive situation. She's got some wild fantasies of turning her hell into heaven. She posts her high score in the "My Life is Fucked Up" game and then invites Jake to see if he can beat her score. Jake responds of his story of murdering his wife and serving a long prison sentence. The two realize that neither one's hell is better or worse than the other's. Jesus is awakened by that rotten yet fine-ass Layla. She's still on that thing about getting Jesus to meet her agent friend. As she talks, it's revealed that she's not alone. Her agent friend DeAndre is behind her. And I mean, he's behind her. The cops drop in on Jake and remind him that he's on the clock. Chop chop, early bird gets the signature. Jake approaches Jesus again, but gets ignored. Jesus goes on a ride with the neighborhood hustler, Big Time Willie. Now Willie might be shifty, but he ain't no fool. He done seen a whole bunch of basketball prophets go up and down the same path that Jesus is on. Most of them crash and burn. He warns Jesus of the 4 horsemen of young talented brothers getting caught up. The booze, the blow, the friends, the hoe. Coach is in Jesus' ear again. Same old question, same old answer. Look, when I know, you'll know. He offers Jesus $10K. Now mind you, this probably means that Coach has pocketed the other $90K. See, Coach done helped Jesus out in the past with $10 here, $20 there. Change a grade of D to a B minus. For $10,000K, you can believe that comes with a hook. Jesus is wise enough not to take the bait, but he's not smart enough to resist Layla and her hustle. They meet with the agent, DeAndre. DeAndre then passes Jesus off to his boss, Dumb Pagnotti. Pagnotti shows off his big estate, his car collection, you know, the average material shit that impresses the average cat. After showing Jesus his indoor basketball court, Pagnotti makes his pitch. He wants Jesus to skip college and go straight to the pros. He putting a rush on Jesus, but Jesus would like to know him better. Oh, also, Jesus spots Layla and DeAndre warming it up in the swimming pool. Jesus goes home to deflate. He pulls out those prison letters from his dad that he claimed to have destroyed. He begins to reflect on their late-night basketball lessons. All of the inspiration and encouragement. How Jake gave him the drive to improve his game. How it was something that brought the whole family together. Then again, he also remembers how his dad would carry things too far. He didn't know when to allow a little kid to make some mistakes. He goes back to the worst day of his life. How it started with his pops being over-aggressive on the court. Jake was hitting little man with that Ron Harper defense. Hand-checking the shit out of him. No blood, no foul. Jesus got fed up and threw the ball over the fence. And then Jesus just walked. Jake followed him home and began to lecture him about respect. Jesus attempted to rise from the table, but Jake got shit on his chest, and he planned on getting it off. When Jesus left in the middle of the lecture, Jake yoked his little ass up, slammed the child on the hard concrete. Moms tried to pull her husband off a little man, but she got tossed too. Unfortunately, her head hit the kitchen counter on the way down, and she dead. Oh, Jake. You going to prison, right? Jesus meets up with Jake again wearing overalls in New York. That was a thing for a quick summer back then. Jake cuts to the chase. He tells Jesus that he wants him to sign with Big State University. He tells him that he needs him to sign with Big State University. His freedom depends on it. Jesus isn't moved. Jake then warns Jesus about these little fast girls getting into his head. He tells Jesus to do what he thinks is best. Jesus leaves town to go on a campus visit. Future teammate Chick shows him around. Jesus got white girls falling out of trees, rolling over, licking them on the back of the hand, kissing them in the mouth, all sorts of shit. Chick takes Jesus into the arena and they do that whole big screen introduction thing. Coach comes out with a pre-made jersey for Jesus. Impressive shit to a 17-year-old. They break for lunch and the brothers can't even get a moment to talk about freaks. Cause a damn murderous row of Beckys march in to show love. That night they got young Jesus out at a wild party. But understand, the recruiting never stops. Chick ushers Jesus into a bedroom. He done set up a game of 1-on-1. Make that 2-on-1. This is advanced, no holds barred freak shit. Got old boy damn near ready to sign up right then and there. Back home, Jake introduces himself to that low-down Layla. He asks her of Jesus' whereabouts. At the same time, he's reading her. She's being dismissive to him, with her lips poked out like a disobedient child. And there's DeAndre standing over there like he's going to do something except get his ass kicked. Jake offers Lala a partnership to help himself and her, but mostly himself. She got lippy with him and thought he wouldn't snatch her, but he did. Now here comes DeAndre. Let me give you a little street fight tip. If you're in a confrontation and a cat breaks eye contact, and then he starts to rub his face, or especially the back of his neck, he about to stone him. After dropping DeAndre, Jake goes to Spivey and Crudup for some spending money. He needs a reset. Maybe if he can clear his nut, he can get back on with his mission. I guess they figured if it'll help to get the job done, they might as well give this loser some more money. Jake takes that money and pulls Dakota from the corner she's working. They take it back to her room. Slow down, player. This is a business meeting. Purse first, ass last. Jake's looking for that girlfriend experience. Now take baby steps, Jake. You've been locked up. It's been a minute since you've been in it. Dakota and Jake go at it and it takes about 3 seconds. Can't beat my record. Layla asks Jesus about his recruitment trip. He tells her that nothing special happened. Of course, he omits telling her about the hundreds of things that he did to them freaks that she either can't do or won't do. Our focus Lala circles back to that college decision thing. Lala wants answers. She won't let this brother breathe. Jesus lets Lala know that he's on to her game, that she's using him to get to the next level. Lala confesses, but hey, the world is a jungle. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and big dogs eat first. Lala's just trying to get a piece of the pie. And with both sides laying everything on the table, the relationship is over. All right, chick, it's been real. Back to the streets. Jake confronts Jesus. It's his last day out, and it's time for the rubber to hit the road. Now or never, shit or get up. Jake presents the letter of intent to Big State University. He offers Jesus a proposal, playing one-on-one, call game at 11. Jake wins, Jesus signs and goes to Big State U. If Jesus wins, Jesus does whatever he was going to do anyway. The game starts. Jake scores first. He got a strut in his walk and it's just the first basket. Jesus matches him. The trash talk begins. Early on, it's a game. But it's like I say about that old man strength. Yes, it's effective, but the expiration date on that shit comes quick. It go bad quicker than bananas. The writing is on the wall. Jesus is up 9-5. It'll take a miracle for a comeback now. Now it's 10-5. Game point. Somebody wake the fat lady up. Jesus hits Jake with that pop-pop move. Jake's brain said go right, and his knees said go left. Disaster. That's game. Jake laid on his back like a defeated cockroach. He grabs the letter of intent, walks over to Jesus, and in one final unspoken attempt, hands the letter over to him. Jesus drops it to the ground. Aye, sport. Fair enough. But before Jake walks off, he gives his son some words of wisdom. Holding on to hate ain't gonna change what happened in the past. He urges Jesus to avoid the same outcome that his hatred caused. And with that, Jake goes back to prison. Days later, Jesus finally makes his college decision. By way of his coach, he commits to Big State University. So Jake got released, right? Right? Nah, player. Happy endings only happen in movies. The way that the story got told is that Jake escaped prison and then was apprehended. And there is Jake, back in prison, just chilling. He gets called to the warden's office. The warden tells Jake that the plan to release him has some hiccups and technicalities. The governor reneged on his deal to cut his time, even though his son signed with Big State University. Yeah, I thought that shit was shiesty from the beginning. He should have got it on paper, certified. We then see Jesus getting up some shots at Big State U. Jake is doing the same on the prison yard. Jake's ball goes over the restricted line, also known as the shoot a motherfucker in the back line. He walks to retrieve the ball. The prison sniper shouts a warning, but Jake ignores it and continues to walk towards the line. He crosses over, gets the ball, and chunks it over the wall. As he walks back onto the prison court, that very same ball from the prison enters the Big State University arena where Jesus is practicing. He grabs the ball and smiles. That's some damn voodoo shit, Mike.